I don't know how I'm feeling. I was not really expecting to make it this far, in all honesty. I have been picturing myself the past year or so being taken away in my sleep, being um, hurt for any number of odd reasons. And because of that, I have not put effort into my life beyond what's necessary to live, which doesn't make that much sense. I don't know if I'm too much of a coward to do it, or I secretly hope that there is something for me after all this. But it's been a year, and I'm not dead. No one's come for me yet. And I'm kind of wondering what I do. Because I could keep doing exactly what I'm doing and probably be mostly okay. I won't do anything out of the ordinary. I won't have a super awesome life beyond the friends and people I have in it. Or I could do the scary thing and try doing something, which I guess this is what this is. I I'm at a loss for what to do for myself. I am really scared all the time. And not necessarily of like the thing that's actually making me upset. The person that's actually hurting me. It's, I guess, subconsciously that where I will wake up in the morning and one of my dolls fell out of my bed. And that distresses me because something going wrong reminds me of the thing that is wrong. And it's been really hard to deal with that because whenever I was living in the depression, I would just run into so many things that upset me. So it was normal to be upset. But over the past couple months of getting a job, hanging out with my friends a little bit more, playing games again, kind of getting in touch with who I was before everything went to shit for me. And now that I feel like I have something, I am terrified of losing it again. I'm terrified of losing myself, my friends, my family, and I guess it's nice because it means I care and I didn't lose too much of myself during that time. But it really sucks, which is obvious, but making something is really weird for me. All my life I had like some sort of like physical project. By that I mean I learned knitting when I was 5. I learned how to do cross stitch patterns. I did knitting. I already said knitting. There was something else. It was like, oh, sewing. Learned sewing when I was like maybe 10. And then whenever I was not learning those things in school anymore, I moved on to woodworking for a bit. Then around the age of 13, I um was in one of those stupid 13-year-old relationships where I felt like I wanted to get this person a Christmas present, so I made them a ring out of a coin, which was something that I learned how to do after a YouTube video. Um, it was really fun. I had to drill out the center of this coin, make sure it's nice and even, approximately guess the size it needed to be, and then I hammered it against like this ring sizer. And then whenever the metal would become hard and firm again, I would take off the coin, heat it back up, and then put it back onto the ring sizer, and then begin using my little like silicone rubber mallet and begin beating it against the sizer again. And that was fun. And that got me into making rings out of coins on a more bigger kind of intermediate scale. I had all sorts of presses and specialty machines that I used, uh, an arbor press, a polisher, stuff like that. And I made friends. Let's see. I think I was like 14, 15 whenever all that happened. And I made some friends. And that year for one of our school fairs, we had a little booth where on the spot we were all working together to make rings. And I remember um I think we sold like $15 per ring. Um I had some pre-made and then I had all my friends helping me kind of like do this assembly line. And I completely roped them into it. I was just like, hey, you guys aren't doing anything for the fair. You should come do this with me. And I completely guilted them into it and then uh tried to get them to accept rings as their payment, but I didn't convince all of them. So I did have to split my profits, but it's a fond memory. And since that, I really haven't made anything. I've done some weird art and drawing. I did do a short story. I did do writing for a little bit. It wasn't good. Well, it wasn't what I wanted it to be. But I don't think that makes it bad. I think that makes it amateur. But I enjoyed doing it. And I guess that's what this is. I I don't know if it's that I want to. Let me start over. I don't know what the next step is for me. But I know I don't want this forever. I know that if I just keep going to this job, while I'm grateful for it and the people that are there, I will not be using myself to the fullest. And I could be missing out on who I could be or who I could help. And I know if I stay like this, I will run out of time. I won't be in my 20s forever. I won't be in my 30s forever. And I cannot even begin to comprehend what being in your 40s could even look like. To me, where I stand, being 40 means everything that I am right now is dead. It's so much time to have passed, and then just expected to keep carrying on. 40 feels way too old. For me, at least. I could see other people being 40, but I feel like I would just stop existing by then. Physically, I sure, your atoms and stuff, but my relationships, my understanding of the world, the things I hold true, all of that would be subject to new ideas, new people, new in charge, new theories, new everything. Not that I like this way of life, not that I like the things that I understand to be true right now, but I had to. It meant something. I had that flu strain that went around during Christmas, at least in the east, the southeast. Um and I woke up, I believe Tuesday, to go to work at 10:30, and I remember feeling under the weather, and I thought, oh, I'm just kind of groggy from sleep, because sometimes when I wake up I'll be coughing or feel congested. And I got to work on time, started my day, felt good, and I got in at like 11 or 10:30. Around 1 o'clock, I was in a full fever. I was shaking with just cold. My insides were cold. My skin was burning. I was having a hard time breathing. I was coughing. It was the worst I had felt in a while. And I somehow managed to make it through my full shift. But with every hour, it got worse. And I went out to my car and I sat down in my car. I set the air to like internal circulate. Then I turned on the heat and still shivering and sweating at the same time. I took like a 2 hour nap in the car in the parking lot of my job. I had 12 miles range of gas when I fell asleep, and I had about 3 to 5 when I woke up. Luckily, the gas station was close enough that I was able to get gas, sat at the gas station for like 10 minutes, then drove home somehow. And when I got home, I parked in my parking lot and I fell asleep in my car doing the same internal air circulation deal. And fell asleep in the car for like 3 hours. Any semblance of what I wanted to do or anything at all, just completely lost. And I eventually woke up, eventually made it inside, still in full uniform, everything, got in bed, wrapped myself in 5 blankets, still freezing, room at like 80 degrees, and went to sleep. Though, if that was Tuesday, then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was supposed to be days off for me. And I spent all those days just lying on this bottom mattress of my room, completely shaking, taking ibuprofen, like as much as the label said I could, drinking water, eating saltines, and drinking orange juice, and just completely disassociating and trying to, if not able to sleep, then hopefully pass the time in some sort of fast way by just disassociating. And my siblings came over the morning when I woke up, so that would have been Wednesday. And I remember my house is a one story, and everyone is just walking through the house. There's Christmas music playing, there's movies playing, and just being on the floor, not able to be a part of that. Which originally I didn't plan on being a part of it because none of them really accept me in the way I want them to. It's hard to be around them because of that. But I realized that I had missed them. And just being on the floor, listening to everyone else have that experience was really sad. And in the moment, I didn't fully think the thought through, but I felt a little upset at all of them because I was alone in the room, not be able to be a part of anything. But obviously, I did not want what I had because it was horrible. But my little sister, she would come in and check on me and bring me provisions and talk to me. And I realized that even though she didn't even understand why I am the way I am, she cared about me enough to still want me to be a part of Christmas in that way. So she would leave my door cracked and crank up the movies loud so I could hear them from my room. Or she would change the music so it was ones that I knew or ones that I liked. And found ways for me to still be a part of it. And then the next day is the same thing, just a continuation of that. And then the next day is another continuation. And then I think I had one more day off then because I had asked my boss for that day off for a Christmas party my mother was hosting. And I had gotten over my illness just enough to sit in the corner of the room and kind of drink juice and kind of be a part of the party in a oh she's sitting over there kind of way. And that was nice. I was really scared going into that, being around all my extended family because um it had been a long time since they had seen me wear a t-shirt. I had always worn sweaters around everyone because I did not want them to see my chest because that was something new. And that would be a scary thing to go through. But either wasn't as noticeable as I thought, or no one wanted to bring it up. It didn't spark any controversy. And it's not that they accept me and love me and they don't care about that. It's just it was nice to have that moment because it was probably some of the last times I'm gonna have that. Transitioning is, for me at least, it's been really aggravating because after 3 years, I finally started to see proper breast development. Whenever everyone else is like, "Oh, maybe in a year you'll start to have like decent or something like that." I don't know. I did have I did have breast tissue, but it wasn't where I wanted it to be. And it made me feel less than everyone else. or the people that I would see, because it felt like why am I not like them? Which is already a major transition. I've always had a hard time being friends with other girls who aren't also like me. But even when they are also trans, it's still difficult because I don't feel like I'm doing enough. Like I haven't figured out how I want to wear my hair. It's just growing. I had bangs for a while and I thought it was cute and I liked it. But that was last year, and last year me is gone. Well, not last year actually. 2 years now. 2 years ago me had bangs and had all these nice things and was allowed to be a part of those people, be a part of groups of women who were talking, groups of women who were hanging out, or just allowed to be viewed. I didn't way too much. I didn't feel pretty, but I felt like I was doing enough to be in their ranks in a way. But I don't feel like that. There's the people at my work have been really kind to me. There's one person who I don't like being around just because I have a general kind of bad vibe about him, even though we seem to get on okay. But particularly the other women, they have all been really sweet to me and made me feel like I can be a part of their conversations. But it's hard to. Even though I feel like I'm welcome, it's hard to be in a conversation about pregnancy or children whenever I can't have that and I don't even know if I would have kids because I don't know if I'm responsible enough. People say I would be an awesome parent. I feel like it could be, but I don't know if I'm ready to. I don't know if I'd ever be ready to be responsible for helping someone else like that at the most, like level 0 of someone's personality, their core, their center. I don't know if I could give that the kind of nurturing it would need. That's rough because there's like these 19, 20-year-old women, 25, all kind of hanging out like, oh my god, she just got pregnant, she just had a kid. Here's how we're coming along. Here's this, here's that. Some of them are straight, some of them are lesbians who I guess had a surrogate. Although I don't know what their partner situation's like. And it's rough. Because it's not just like the viewing of straight people, which I don't feel particularly close to, just because I don't get it. Because that's not who I am. It also has that from like a lesbian is also rough because it's like it feels like I'm one step further away. Even though well, last year I was off of HRT for most of the year. I lost my job 2 years ago, and then that was around like November. And then going into 2025, I was out of HRT and just trying to get back on it, just trying to get a job. Got a job at Kroger, but they messed up my paychecks getting to me somehow, and I wasn't able to afford it. Just because I would go into work for free, go into work for free, go into work for free. It wasn't until 2 months after I quit that I started to get checks from them. But by that point, I had accrued so much just random stuff that I had to take President over HRT. I didn't even get it till July. So from January to July was completely dry. Thankfully, as soon as I started back up, I saw those changes that I had wanted to see in myself like tenfold. Like my skin being softer, or like less body oil, less smell, less body hair. That was something I always wanted and I had seen in some of my friends, but it was never for me. Never for me to have. But I got it. And then I started to have a little bit of breast development, and that was really nice. And then over the course of me being sick, my breast tissue, it felt like it multiplied. It was a lot like I fill out my sports bras now. And I need a real bra, but I still don't feel like it's enough. I made some steps to do what I feel like I need to. I I got a purse. I then set up that purse to have like chapstick and a hairbrush and some hair ties. Um I've looked into like maybe doing like an exfoliation like face creams and stuff. I got new shampoo and I got new conditioner, and even though I still don't feel like I belong, which is 80% of the issue of being trans, there's now 20% of me that feels like I have a chance. I still feel like I weigh way too much, which is just true for my BMI. I am morbidly obese, but there's times when I put on clothes and I feel like I look cute. There's times when like I will see myself in a mirror and I feel a little bit better. Like I'm not doing people a disservice by letting them see me, which is how last year felt. Last year was torn sweatpants, ripped shirts, just complete and utter just lack of self-respect. It wasn't that I didn't have the ability to get shirts that were fixed or pants that were fixed. I had a support group. I just didn't take it because that wasn't for me. That wasn't for me to have. I I used to shop at PetSmart a lot, which is a chain of stores that sell pet necessities. It was where I got the crickets for my frog. His name's Coco Jumbo. I believe he is 4 years old. But I need to do the math on that and see when I got exactly I got him. Um, but when I moved in with my mom, I started shopping at this different store. PetSense. It's like a subsidiary of Tractor Supply, I believe. And I first really hated it because I kind of had this like a couple of queer people at the PetSmart that I would talk to, and seeing them just exist at like the age of 30 or 27 or even same age as me, was just, it felt safe. I felt like I could be 30. And I really like the stores. Excuse me. I liked how they were laid out. I kind of knew where everything was. I knew where I needed to go. I knew how many crickets I needed. I knew what size. It was a nice weekly ritual. And then going over to PetSense was a little, it hurt a little bit because I had built up this idea of what going to get crickets meant, and the stores around it, and the people there, and the blessing of having an excuse to leave the house. If someone was yelling at me, if someone didn't like what I was doing, I needed to go get crickets. And that was really nice. But when I moved with my mom, I didn't need that anymore. And going to get crickets meant a chore, not a escape. And it kind of changed how I viewed it. It's not that I don't want my pet to eat, it's now something different. I don't know if I fully processed that. Luckily, the Pet Sense does have some queer people there, and there's this one lesbian couple that come in every once in a while. I believe them both to be butch, which is nice. You don't often see that. And they'll come in, and I believe they get cat stuff, and that feels safe because they're probably in their 30s, and that makes me feel better. Because even though I don't believe them to be like me, just the idea of any lesbian being able to be that old and do their daily rituals makes me feel better. Getting old is really scary for me. I don't know what my body would even look like. I already don't like it, and everyone's always hyping up being old as like this deterioration of your joints, your legs hurting, your head hurting, needing this medicine, going to the doctor, being worried about when you're going to die, having grandchildren, having nephews and nieces, having this, having that, this big giant change. And it's rough. But seeing people I share commonality with being old, that's nice. I being 21 is interesting for me now because I can have a decent chance of running into people like me that I am age gaps apart from. At my job, I met this trans woman who is 18, who just turned 18. And that was really bizarre. Because in my head, I remember going to pride parades. I remember I think I was 17 or 18. And then when I was 19, I went to a a protest. And then 20. And I remember just all these things about being trans, about being a lesbian that I did at those ages. And this woman is just starting HRT where I was, and she's about to go do all of those things or do her own things. and that was amazing. It was it felt like it made me feel like I was living for something more than just myself. That perhaps me being able to answer her questions about my timeline, about what I do for this, how I handle that, or just having someone else similar to talk to. And you feel that maybe I'm doing that same age thing for her. Maybe she can't understand being 21 right now. The only thing I thought of being 21 whenever I was 18 was, I mean, I guess you get to buy alcohol, and I guess you get to buy cigarettes, but I figured out that it's meant more than that because of who I have become. I cannot comprehend being 18 anymore. And I hope that meant something to her. I've not, I've only recently started to meet people that I'm sorry, that are younger than me, who I share that commonality with. And I enjoy it. It's, I don't have the best answers. I don't have everything they may need to know, but it makes me feel helpful in a way that I really want to be helpful. I I don't know what I want from being in a relationship anymore. I originally thought that what I wanted was a monogamous lesbian relationship with another trans woman where we would have jobs, save up money, and then get an apartment somewhere and then support each other into getting better jobs and kind of picking up and doing our own things. Maybe getting back to something creative, to something I could pour energy into. And then all those typical relationship interactions of romance and bedroom stuff and all of that. And I've come to realize that yes, by terminology, I am polyamorous, but it's more so because of this one friend I have who we originally dated, and then she decided that was not what she wanted, but that intense bond of being together in a physical way, being together in a emotional way, that didn't go away. And I don't want it to. That's how we are together. She is just as important as a lot of things to me. And I don't know what having a partner would look like. If it would be they would do romantic activities with me and this friend, or if it would be this friend is just a friend and my partner could know them, my partner could not. It's strange. We don't do as much physical stuff anymore, but I don't think I love her any less. I think I love her just the same. We still hold hands, we still save episodes of shows to watch together, we still snuggle in bed, we still take care of each other in that way. And I guess I don't know if there's anyone else who would understand that I could have a relationship with someone, a romantic one, and then still have this friend. And I don't want to change that. I don't want to say we can't do that anymore because that's not what I want. But I'm also scared that I'll never find someone who understands that and is like me. So that's the thing I want the most. I It's not that I don't think that a cis woman could understand me or want to know me, but I've always found the company of other trans women really nice. It's easy just to want something because it's similar to you, but whenever it's so hard to find anything that resembles my shape, it's always nice whenever I see someone that's like that. That I know they're trans not because of some contrivancy, it's because I see myself in them. It's not because I think they're ugly, it's not because I think their voice is strange or their chest is flat or any other thing. It's just because whenever I look into their eyes and whenever we make eye contact and whenever we speak, I just have that deep, we have bared the same crosses. And I haven't felt that with anyone else. I don't wonder if that's similar for other minorities of like looking at someone and feeling what they have gone through. Hmm. A long, well, it feels like a long time ago, which I guess it is probably now. I was really into Team Fortress 2, and I still am. I just don't play it as much for reasons. And I got in the game there's a class called the Heavy, and his main weapon is this minigun. And he was my favorite character to play, and I played him on a competitive level. He was so simple, but that's where all of his complexity came from for me, and it was really fun. And I remember after one of my team's victories, I said, if we win this, I'm going to buy myself like this expensive skin for my gun that makes it like golden and count the number of kills and all this cool stuff. It was like $100. And I got the gun, and in the game you can like take name tags and alter the name of a gun or any item, and then a excuse me, description tag, which lets you change the description of an item. And I named the gun "The Power of Equality," which is a Red Hot Chili Pepper song that I like. And then also it's kind of like a like, ooh, I'm trans and equality is cool, yo. And then the description for it was my HRT is only $100 a month. Now, that statement is disingenuous because it's not necessarily talking about my HRT, like the medication, but it was talking about the provider that I used, which at the time had a couple of options that you could do for like payment with them. They were a informed consent clinic, which meant you say, "I understand that if I eat this enough, I'm gonna have tits," and then you get the tit juice, which was so cool. Um, they had multiple different ways you could pay. It was either you could pay upfront every 2 months whenever you need to do your blood work and all your stuff, so that'd be, like, $120 for the video visit, and then, like, I think 120 for the blood work they needed to do. It's like checking to make sure your levels are going down and your body wasn't having any sort of like adverse reaction. And then they had the other option, which was like a subscription style where once a month you'd be charged for $100, but that $100 would cover your blood work and it would cover any video visits you needed. And I don't know why, because I only ever had video visits like every other month or every 3 months or every 4 months. And I only ever had blood work to do like 6 times a year, maybe 4 times a year. So I don't know why I chose the option that meant I would be spending more money when I didn't need to, but I chose to pay that subscription. I guess it was just easier to pay extra money because then I didn't have to worry about like having enough money in my account to do the thing. I just had to make sure there was $100 in my account every month. And looking back, I could have saved a lot of money, but in the moment, it was nice that little timed event once a month where I would get a reminder that I was doing what I wanted to do. That I was 18, I was young, I was doing my college work, I was going into my local college, just hanging out and doing my online college on their Wi Fi, just going into their libraries. It was nice. In the moment, it was, I know I'm about to lose $100, but also it was like, I get to pay this. I'm not doing this because of anyone else but me. And this year, I'm sorry, last year, 2025, I opened Team Fortress 2 for the first time in like probably a year. Sometime in like June. And I was looking through my inventory and I found that gun. And it really pissed me off that I was such a little shit. Like, my HRT is only $100 a month. It kind of made me realize how I could have been making other people feel when they read that. Other women or even men or NBs who were, because when you kill someone with a item, it has a chance to show the description and show the stats of the gun. So if I kill someone with this minigun, it will show like 5,000 confirmed kills, how much damage it's dealt, and then the name and the description of it. And it made me think about like, you're already losing, you're already getting stormed by me, and then the slap in the face of my AHRT is only $100 a month. The amount of privilege and just unawareness that sentence was. In TF2, during Christmas, they give out these little presents you can open up, and you'll always get a spray, so like not spray, like a paint can to like change an item's color, an item tag, a description tag, and some other like stuff. But I'm trying to think of something to rename that gun because I don't want to let anyone else have that same reaction I had to reading it. just the pure anger I felt at that person I was, who wasted that money, who got the HRT, and somehow didn't give me any chest, any hourglass figure, didn't leave me with amazing hair, amazing skin, made me really fucking pissed. And I don't want anyone else to have that. I I was around for the first, I'd say like 10 videos of Wendigoon's channel, which if you don't know is this YouTuber who got big off of doing um like iceberg videos, which is like this older video format of this image of an iceberg where the top of it is common knowledge and the very bottom of the iceberg, kind of under the water, is like this super obscure knowledge. And he would do videos covering like horror and kind of cryptid and SCP topics. And throughout the years, I stayed loyal to his channel. I watched almost every video he put out, enjoyed a lot of it. He's a really, really good YouTuber in the sense of not too close to his fans, but gives just enough to not leave you wondering, to not make it a craving of knowing who he is, and covers topics that I want to know about, or covers things that I didn't know about that I felt like I needed to, which I feel like is the perfect wheelhouse for any sort of commentary or essay style YouTuber. And 2 years ago, he started a podcast with this other YouTuber, um Meat Canyon, who's like this kind of horror animator slash kind of like own commentary YouTuber, but shorter style, kind of more surface level to mid level like knowledge. Not really a deep dive so much as like a zeitgeist understanding. And they started this little podcast that was them reading horror stories from the internet, like creepypastas, and then it evolved into them reading no sleep stories from Reddit, and then it evolved into them reading ARGs, and then like analog horror, and then they stopped doing analog horror because no one watched that because it was, I don't know. But I really, really like the podcast. Really enjoy it. They're really funny together. They figured out a format that works for them, and they read these stories that range from I wasted about an hour and 30 minutes of my life to that's a new understanding of the world. And I really enjoy their longer videos that range from like maybe 3 to, I think their longest one now is 12 hours. So the 3 to 12 hour mark is like generally where my favorite stories are. So like that nice kind of build up. They did a video on, I believe it was called the Clock Tower or the Red Tower. And I believe it was a 9 hour long video. But during like the first hour, 30 minutes of content, there's this character that our narrator calls Scary Carrie, and she is this the story is it's been a while since I've heard her description because I didn't rewatch the episode unlike other ones because there's a part of the episode that upsets me. But she's kind of described as this kind of like taller, overweight girl who has a round face. She's into kind of like that spooky, like counterculture, almost gothic. Um I believe she had ginger hair, but I could be making that up. And as Isaiah is describing this character, I immediately kind of have this idea of who this person is in my head. And this character makes me feel a little bit seen. Because while I'm not tall, I feel connected to being into spooky and creepy stuff, maybe not being physically appealing to most people, and kind of feeling like that outcast, not feeling connected to a lot of people, except for those random family members and oddball friends. And then Hunter, who is Papa Meat, he's kind of this force of chaos on the show, of just kind of like XYZ is happening, we're in a serious moment, and then he'll drop a random ass crazy quip. And he's talking, and he starts kind of like insulting Carrie, the character, and kind of like making fun of her as like kind of like a jab at Wendigoon, because Wendigoon Isaiah, he's kind of like like very apparently he's into gothic tall women, that kind of deal. So like Hunter's kind of like ribbing him, and then kind of using Carrie as like this tool for that, and just being generally gross. And that pissed me off so bad. It made me so angry. And while this character's not a real person, and as far as I know, I am the only one affected by this, it made watching the show from then on a little bit harder. Because it was like Hunter insulting her, like making her out to be like masculine, like doing like this kind of like rough, kind of like guy voice, like hey guys, I'm Carrie, kind of like it felt very. It felt like how a transphobic person would insult me. It was really upsetting. It made me livid, because that show was something that was hitherto untainted by any mention of trans people like that, or just trans people in general, which I guess wasn't going to be an issue. Because when you let two white guys just kind of hang out without really a moral compass, it tends to go wrong, I guess. But I don't know. I really wish that didn't happen, because I really like the show. But now there's a small part of me that feels guilty whenever I watch it. It feels guilty for doing the Patreon, because I feel like I might be being disingenuous to myself. I don't know how I stand on that. Originally, I told myself I was gonna keep watching because my friend watched it. We were watching it together all the time. But then he stopped watching, and then I had another friend, the same friend with like the weird situation, kind of relationship, friendship kind of deal. Um, she watched it a bunch, and we would talk about the episodes, and that was like a fun little thing to look forward to every week. Then she stopped watching it, so I feel like this kind of last bearer of the flag, and I just sometimes I don't know why. I I think what would be nice if by the next time I decide to do one of these, it would be nice if I had a real proper bra that wasn't just a sports bra that actually fits me. It'd be nice if I had a haircut. That'd be really nice. I think that's what's gonna be my task for next paycheck for next week, or more likely week after next, because paychecks. Um, I think my last little kind of little confessional I want to do is I take quarters from my job, and it's for a specific reason. The when I made coin rings, I had a favorite quarter to make into a ring because the design fit perfectly around a center punch. If you perfectly punched a hole through the center of a quarter, I found its design to be the best. And the little plug that you would get from punching out the center was fun and had a little design on it. And I would keep those and kind of just look at them. I always had a hard time finding them because they were a little bit older and I didn't buy that much stuff when I was younger. So it was harder to get those as change. When I found one, I would always put it in a special drawer in my coin shelf and make a mental note to make a ring out of it for me. I would never sell those. I would always make them for me or people I cared about. And when I started this new job, for a while I didn't see any of them, but eventually I did. And I remember took someone's change, I put it in the drawer, and as I went, I think it was like I was given like a nickel, a dime, and a penny, and I saw one of those quarters just sitting face up in that slot in the register. And I remember just feeling so such a relief. Like it like I was worried it was gone. But I got the person what they needed and they walked away. I took note of how the cameras were and I took it. I then replaced it with a quarter I had on me, but I took it. And I put it in my pocket. And I took it home and I set it on my dresser. And it sat there. And then a handful of months went by and I saw another one. And that time I didn't have a quarter on me. But I took it anyway. My boss didn't say anything. They generally don't care if your register is like a couple of cents short because change is going to go missing, whether you're opening a new roll and you pour it in and then one jumps out, or you try to put change into the register and some falls and you just can't notice because it's loud and you're rushing. But I don't feel bad about it. It feels like a reward for doing all of that. And recently I've started to see an increase of them. And it's made me really, really happy. And even though I don't do coin rings anymore, I still have the tools. I just don't have the desire to make any rings. I don't like wearing them anymore. They don't feel, I don't know if I could make a ring out of a coin that would feel feminine enough for me. And even though I don't sell them, just having these little reminders of selling them at that festival with my friends, of having an Etsy store, of having a first girlfriend, of the hurt of breaking up, of when that girlfriend broke up with me. And I had given her this gift that I spent weeks full hammering away at forging, something that I would love to see again. And then when I had a new girlfriend, I made her one just like the other, not because I felt uninspired, not because I felt like, oh, I just want my girlfriend to have this, but because that's what that quarter meant to me. It wasn't 25 cents. It wasn't a mark of the United States. It wasn't a nationalist. It wasn't a American pride. It was this token of these months, these years of my life. And that's how it feels every time I take one out of the register. It feels like my 16, 15, 14, 13-year-old self giving me a present. And I think I've resolved that I'm just going to have to take each one. And if they fire me for it, if I get arrested for it, I'm okay with that. I think I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with it. I really like these quarters. I don't really have a idea of an outro because this has just been me turning on my microphone and sitting in my chair, playing with my controller and looking at a quarter and talking. So if you listen to the entire thing, thank you. If you are skipping around the video to judge if you want to listen to this, thank you for doing that. I don't know what it means to me if you're listening to this, but I guess I know that I'm appreciative. I don't know if it makes me happy. I don't know if it makes me sad, but I know that I appreciate it. I am done not doing anything, and I have to keep telling myself that. I'm hoping that doing this will reignite the spark that it took to hammer out those rings to be a part of a competitive video game thing. I want that brightness back. I think it starts with doing something, anything creative. And that's what this has been for me. So, thank you. I hope you have a good morning, have a good afternoon. Hope you sleep well. And maybe if I'm lucky, I will be able to share some more ideas with you.